Anyway, but we had more money than just that water line, which is good because it has other impacts on the town. So extending some of these other lines and improving other things help us move more water. So
Yeah, so this follows
it follows
what we've done.
It follows what we've done in the past. Where it is in the master plan and ultimately we're trying to get this road to the water line to the highway, it is consistent with the master plan, and so I think it would be appropriate to use the impact fees in lieu of, or in-kind contributions in lieu of dollars for impact fees. We still have the water rights and all the other criteria.
Yeah.
So what, on our last water line, it was, how much was it a foot? Just gave that to Barry.
$100,000. Trying to remember all the costs. So I think the total bill worked out to be just over $100,000
103, I think.
with the asphalt that we don't have here and the meters and everything else, and we were 900 feet.
Yeah,
So call it $100,000 on 1,000 feet.
there you go.
So take out the zeros and a little over $100.
$100 a foot.
It almost sounds like a deal, but not really.
It's not.
I think this one will be, I don't know that this one will be comparable. We need to get out there and look at other utilities.
So
The $100 a foot had a lot of utilities and asphalt and conflicts that made it more expensive.
It did. It did. And there will be some irrigation lines, I think, that they will have to cross on there. Do you design that, or do you just give him the design we have? Make sure we have the 5-foot cover and is the aggregate and,
In the past, where we've said there are private water lines that the town, that doesn't benefit the town, we've had the developer hire an engineer and then we've reviewed it. On these water lines that are in the master plan, we've done the design. And I would propose on this one, it's 200 feet, we have all the typicals and details.
that's what I mean, could we just,
So we would recross out the Southfield Road and call it a set of plans. So I would propose we could generate a set of plans,
okay,
just using, like I said, our standard details and
yeah,
one sheet that just says connect here, stop there.
show the thrust block, whatever.
That's specialized in the detail.
You know, and I don't believe in the past we necessarily had a resolution, we just had an agreement to the council to move something like this forward.
I think if we wanted to make a motion, we could formally do it next month. I don't think, I mean, next week it's gonna be warm, but I don't think it's gonna be that warm.
You okay with using our engineer to design,
Yes.
give you that, so you don't have to hire one?
Yes.
Or you can hire one.
No, this, well, I don't do farm.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think. that's a
Sometimes the
great
best
week.
things anyone says about an engineer is fine.
Yeah. So, quickly before we leave off of this, Brian, the new standard coming out with storage, will this help us do that? Any line that we have, they're making us keep so much storage, they're redesigning all the,
They are redoing the rules. I've gone through that, I think we'll be okay.
think we'll be okay? All right,
Using the water lines for storage remains a bad idea.
it is. But I think their storage numbers are extremely high from the state.
Yeah, I thought the whole point of the study they did was it was gonna end up with lower storage numbers, but that didn't work.
No. So all these people that have, all these water systems that have a tank and the lines, all of a
Sorry for
sudden,
fire suppression or whatever.
we're talking drinking water.
Oh,
But now you all of a sudden have to have so much storage, the number went up for how many, you take your peak day demands, not the users, but the peak day demands, and then they have a number, they times that by and tell you how much storage you have to have.
and would that end up being the tank,
That'd mean the tank, they've actually used water line as part of those.
part of that thing?
Mhm.
So the problem I have with water lines is you're not maintaining, if you're draining the water lines, by definition, you're not maintaining pressure in the system.
You are at my house.
So that thought was in my mind, so how's that stored in unless, are they gonna make a bigger
County's
line now, are they gonna want to go bigger lines to
No.
store, or no?
What they're trying to do is get you to build bigger tanks. Conveniently, we built our tank for a build out, because at the time we did it, the Duggins had found about the best deal for financing you'll ever find. And so we built a very large tank, so I would be surprised even with the new regulations if we aren't okay. A lot of other systems I work for that are
People are panicked,
gonna have a lot of trouble.
yeah.
And I don't know that I understand the justification for it. There's not that many times that tanks have run out of water.
Yeah, I sat through training with Ying Ying and it sounded pretty serious. A lot of people were pretty panicked, and I didn't know how our system would.
Our system's gonna fare better than a lot. That doesn't say that we're not gonna get something, but we're gonna do better than a lot.
I heard perfect.
Sounds about right.
Okay, so, do I have just, then have a motion on it? Have the water line or not have the water line, or?
Yeah, we can do a motion on that.
Shall I entertain a motion to have it line presented to us and extend the water line down and it complies with our master plan and our 20-year plan, so.
So moved.
You have a motion? Second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any last discussion?
So we'll be participating in the cost of that line and the fire hydrant, the cost of the line, the entire project,
Up to the cost of the impact fee.
up to the
So-
cost of the
so-
impact fee.
The impact fee is a little low, so we'll, up to, I imagine, the 200 people. If that Southfield Road number's even close, we'll exceed the $10,000.
Okay.
And that was my understanding
So
is,
basically we'll
he's
accept
paying
it.
for it and then we're taking the
And we won't
impact fee
charge
off
them
of
that.
one.
Can't ask for better than that.
Is that what you all understood?
Yeah.
Okay. We got a first and a second, have a discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes, or motion passes. So that was Danny Municipal, and did we get Stormhaven in there, or was there? I know we
No.
didn't, okay, so we'll move on to Stormhaven. Anything you can shed light on us with that, Shelley?
I think, well, she has had, since, this has been going on since June. She's had,
Maybe you ought to let her speak.
yeah, I was gonna say, I'd let her speak
Oh.
first and then,
You bet I wasn't.
and then I'll fill
You
in.
could, we usually have people come up front if you'd like to, that, and state your name for the record, and then we'll be able to understand. Thank you.
You have to go to whiteboard.
I
and draw a
asked him to
diagram.
read it to you. I'm find my glasses. This is regarding the leaks at 4418 South Tabby Lane. First, I get a bill for $57.20 on 4418 property, so I pay it next month. 6/30/18, I get a bill for 180 and some odd cents. So I pay it wondering if Dawn is using a lot of bill or water. Then I get a bill on 7/31/18 for 236.25, so I pay it in wondering who the hell is using it. Then comes 210.65, 8/31/18, I pay it. And then comes 9/30/18 at 238.55, I also pay this, and then comes 10/30/18, 10 and 11, 238.55, so I call my neighbor Dale Beeman. I ask him, what's going on? Now you gotta remember, I have never had this happen before in my life, so I'm dumb about it. I ask him what's going on, he says I must have a leak, and he comes up. I don't even know where to look for one. Dale finds it buried under the long grass in front and said, you have a water meter. I said, oh goody. He finds it and takes off the lid and shows it to me. I'd never seen one before. Don't laugh. He told me to call Gary Walton, and I did. Next day he came out, and I had called people from Salt Lake to come find where it was leaking. I crawled under the house and it was dry. Every place on the ground was dry also. So I was confused about it all. I told Mr. Walton, I had someone coming up from Salt Lake, he said, don't pay that bill. And I've got Kurt Neary's coming right now to look at this. When Kurt came, he told me it would be around 5 or 6 days before he could do anything about it. So I called Salt Lake and canceled the people I had arranged to come. These guys also searched for water on top of the ground, but there wasn't any. I was told not to pay the bill. Well, Kurt came around a week later and repaired the leak. That night I walked up and everything was okay, and then my daughter came home around 9 and called me and said water was running all over the yard and under the house. I went up and it was a mess. I called Kirk and he came back and said a grant. We had to let it run all night. Kirk redug the one he had repaired as the water came from the main line above the meter. They told me that they would be back early, and they were. This belongs to the city of Daniel, so they said. It was a mess. So I paid $90 to Daniels for water for that month. Then I get this bill for $238.55 again. That's the one I was told not to pay by both of them. By Gary Walton and the guy that came and fixed it, who is a very good guy, that's Kurt. And he tells me to pay it. I told him no, I'll go to the water board in December. I had sent in $90, and that was for me and my daughter. That they never even sent me that, and they had taken it off the last bill. So here we are. What do I do?
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a mess, and it was. I have never been in a place where I've had a water leak, so I didn't know what was going on. I thought my daughter was using too much money. I even complained to her, and she said, Mom, I'm not. I didn't know that we had a round thing out there that has little things that goes around fast until they showed me. That's how dumb I am about water.
That's how lucky you are.
Lucky.
Yes. Because you only know about it when you have problems. So if you didn't know about it, you've been
I paid
lucky.
everything except the last one, and I'll tell you why. Because Gary Walton told me not to pay it. Why?
So what happens on a leak typically is all of a sudden you'll get big bills.
I did, and I paid them all,
And so-
except the last one.
Right. So what happens is when that leak is fixed, we forgive the last bill. So
Oh.
all the ones
I didn't
before,
know that.
all the ones before, you'll be charged for because
They're
other,
they're all paid for.
right. So that's why he told you not to pay the last bill.
Okay,
That's
'cause
typically what you do
All I got was
is-
a $45 bill for this month, that
Right.
last month. And I paid that. And I haven't received anything else, so I don't know what to do about this.
Okay. So now, here's Shelley, who's the secretary,
Oh,
and she can tell us where you stand on your bill.
Okay, like I said, this has been going since June. She
yeah.
has paid regular, she's been really good. And let's see, she got her last bill on September 30th. It was $238.55.
Look,
We never received any payment at all for
they told me not.
$238.55. And then, but I did know that Gary was working on it toward the end of,
Of that
October.
month. Yeah.
So October 31st come, her bill was $106.40. Gary came to me and says, we found the leak. I told her we will drop off any excess. She doesn't have to pay the $106.40, only the $45, which is, so we gave her the credit. She had $106.40 for that month, but she still owed the month before, which was $238.55. So we credited her account, she sent a check in for $45, which still shows that she owes $238.55 for the month of September.
You didn't take out the $90 that I sent you on that
One check, I did, $45 was for yours, and wasn't the other $45 to your other account?
No, it was to my daughter, for my daughter.
Right, so you have two different accounts, right?
No, I
45
sent
and
it
45.
together. I sent it all together.
But on your check, it showed put 45 toward one, 45 toward the other. So I did not put 90 toward just this account. I
You put 45 on each meter?
I did, I put
Okay.
45 on each meter,
Okay.
like you had wrote down. And so, and then the check just went out and it's the $45.
Why
So-
didn't somebody
So that's,
that knows, let me know, because I must be stupid. I've never had a water leak. I've lived in San Diego for years and years, never had a water leak, never knew they came, there was no water under the house, I crawled under it, it was dry. There was no water on the top of the ground, none running down the hill. Where did it go?
Straight down in the ground.
Down into the rocks. That's what I found out finally.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm here, because I don't know what to do.
Okay.
So Shelley, then, I kind of didn't quite get, so the only is the 230 check, is that what's owed, or the 45 that's owed?
Yeah, 235, 238.55 is what's owed for September. We haven't received any check except the last $45 one. So the total that just with the check that, with the month that just went out is $288.32. But we did credit all of that was, you know, over, just like Gary had asked me to. So now I'm waiting for what
Okay.
further.
How much do you need?
So she's just trying, we're just trying to get the balance here, so it looks like there's about $230, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 238.55
Okay.
is what's
Why
past
don't the
owing.
people who read the meter, why didn't they let me know that I had a problem? Because I didn't know I had a problem. First I'm yelling at my daughter, you're using too much water. She said, I'm not.
I would think, you know, like Gary, when you called and he came out the next morning, we would not know unless you say my bill's X and I'm not using it anymore, and then that's usually kind of when we get involved, and then we would not know, and we
I
have
didn't
people
know
that use a
what
lot
to
more
do.
water.
I had no clue what to do.
Totally understand.
I had to call a neighbor to come up and show me that I had a meter in front of the house.
Totally understand.
I had no clue.
And can I make a comment on that? Up at Storm Haven, it's harder because they're only allowed 8,000. And so most of the people up there have very high water bills in the summer.
But I
They
don't.
are, and I mean, I just came into this late, but I would have just thought you was just like everybody else up there watering your lawns or,
No.
I mean, is what I'm just saying. It
Yeah,
wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have jumped out at the guys doing the meters or anything else. It would have
should
been,
have.
they wouldn't know unless, they would just assume you're watering something.
No, we
So-
don't have anything to water.
Yeah, but when,
I have water in the field and it's already paid for
yeah,
through another
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so so they wouldn't have known. And I wouldn't known because I just assumed you're watering something else.
No.
But you did call me, and that's when I got Gary on and said, you know,
Yes, you did.
so,
So I would probably see something kind of simple, let's, I think you're okay, you know, you've had a water bill you paid that you're at date.
It's paid
You got
and
told
we've
by
got
our
a
water
new
person not to pay a particular bill.
everything.
We're gonna honor our water guy with that. I would think the council would, and forgive the one $200 and something bill, and I think that's what you're asking for, is that
My
correct?
God, you're kidding.
Well, I think you got your mistake.
I'm not trying to screw anybody.
No, I know, and I may be mistaken, I'm just trying to get the dollar, I'm repeating
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, well, the 238 came before, what they took off, they allowed her to pay the $90
Right.
off of the 106.
And that's 45 each account.
Right, we ate the rest of that 106 on above that, so she only paid the 90, so this is the month prior.
Okay, I missed we already forgave also the 106.
Right.
But it took 2 months to kind of find the leak and work everything out.
Well, everything that
Well,
came
it
on the
took
second
4
leak was a
months,
town,
Actually.
that was on our side of the meter. So the second leak was all, she didn't get billed for any of the second leak. That was
And
the
I've
main
been
one.
smart enough, I would have known there was a leak, but I've never had one before.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was going on.
Right,
So we've really forgiven 10 plus the 90.
So what do you want?
We're coming to that conclusion here real quick.
yeah, so
for you,
you're up 340.
that we've already kind of given? Or
No,
Total,
no, we
total.
only did the 106.
Right.
And so we have the month prior, which is 238. What would you want us to do with it?
It's up to you. I need to know.
What would you like to do with it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Really? Now that you asked, what do you want me to do?
Well, like I said, I missed 100 and something, so there's a forgiving of $106, excuse me, $106.40.
Yes, you did.
And you paid the 90 to take care of the other, so there's a it looks like there's just a balance of 238.55 then, because we've already forgiven 100 and something, so that might be the last bill to catch up, or I'd like to know what the council thinks about that amount.
I think it was a leak. I think it took time to figure out the leak. I think leaks are hard, maybe particularly hard in this situation. I'd say forgive it.
Yeah, I even crawled into the house and it was dry. There was nothing running on top of the ground.
I can tell you spent time trying to figure it out.
I'm sure you can.
So,
I just felt terrible. I didn't know what to do. That's why I'm here.
I think you should forgive it.
Pardon?
I think we should forgive it.
So,
Forget the whole thing?
Well, do you want, well, do you want to pay the bill?
we're trying to be really nice, and you're being nicer.
It's Christmas.
How about half?
That's up to you folks.
You had a leak, and I think the
Yes,
next
we did.
time you know, and you'll be smarter about
Boy, you
it.
better
And
believe
if
it.
your rate
And
goes
there's
up,
probably gonna be more
Yeah.
because that
Because we're
thing
not
that
good.
runs down there is in bad shape. I'm the third person and I found out it came up that same night it broke off. And Kirk had to come back and make a big strip down the front of the lawn again, which we don't have, it's just mud now. And let that water run down there because that came out of the one that actually feeds everybody down the line. So, that's up to you fellows entirely.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Sure.
We're gonna see a motion and see what we want to do here.
Okay.
I make a motion that we forgive the 238.55.
You're extremely sweet.
Second.
We have a first and a second, any last discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So what am I supposed to do then?
Your bill is clear until you get your next bill.
Okay.
And it's coming,
You guys
it's
are
in the mail.
wonderful.
So your new bill is in the mail.
And
You
it
just
will-
need to subtract that 238.55 off of it.
Are you sure?
Yep.
And then pay that bill.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you for your time and coming up and
Thank
speaking
you
to us.
for your time.
Your handkerchief, you just clean it, drop something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, I just didn't want it to be your handkerchief.
I didn't know it was there. Well, it's dirty.
Okay, item number 9, approval of council meeting minutes, October 1, 2018.
Motion to approve?
I think those minutes have already been approved. It should be November 5th.
Thank you
the
very
last
much.
meeting.
Oh,
Thank you.
naughty, naughty.
Okay.
Number 9.
Number 9? I've lost my way too, because I was writing on the back of everything.
So as far as the minutes, October 1 versus should be November 1.
November 5.
Or excuse me, the date when we had it, but in November month. Okay,
Okay, motion to approve those.
Oh, good. Second.
so no discrepancy, was just on the agenda, the minutes are all correct, so.
Yeah.
We have a motion to accept the minutes. And a second, any discussion on the minutes? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes passed.
Mary, can I ask you one question on that?
Yep.
I think there was a discussion, I obviously haven't read those minutes, but on the tentative meeting schedule, and there's usually an ordinance passed in regards to that, which I don't see on the agenda. I just wondered if,
You know, we passed the dates, and we may not have that resolution tonight, but I know we passed and then the dates have all been passed and confirmed.
it's an ordinance, not a resolution, which has to be published. So I think maybe you're a little lax or getting the cart before the horse, but I really think you need to have a formal ordinance before the council once those dates have been approved, which last month it was tentative, and carried forth that way, my opinion.
Let's talk about the scheduling the meeting, room dates.
Oh. For next.
Right?
Correct, for next year. there
So
hasn't
when
been
we
an
went over and
ordinance.
approved it, we didn't do a resolution to follow it up and then public.
An ordinance.
An ordinance, excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay, we can make that change. Thank you, Lynn. Anything else that might, okay. So Mayor, if we'll get an ordinance ready for that. And we'll do the next one. Okay, and that discussion came on the end of the voting of the council minutes, right?
Yes. Right after.
So moving on to item number 10, our recorder's office, warrant approvals, announcements, et cetera. And then we also have our engagement letter from Gilbert and Stewart, who will be doing our audit.
Awesome.
So we'll turn it over to Mary.
Okay, Comcast office call 9758, office space 200, Smith and Arvidsson. So if you guys recall, the last couple of months, we've not had bills. They went to a new billing system, so there's 2 different ones for September, 2 different ones for October.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you for identifying those. That helps.
Three.
Yeah. September/October, yep.
yeah.
And what they're for. That's awesome.
Okay, TO engineering, 162.50 for NEPS, 825.45 for Simus, planning 355, engineering 452.50. Public Works, Eric Sowers, and then marking paint 42.79. Then you have payroll for council, commission, Daniel Municipal Water, data charge 47.75, Heber Light and Power 224.74, Chemtech 420, and then again for 63. Engineering for TO $1,581.07, sampling 210, and then payroll. Storm Haven, Dominion Energy 907, Heber Light and Power 185.34. Chemtech 440, and then another one for 21. Laughlin Water Association is the Welltech specification for 3,289. TO Engineering 1874.10, sampling for 240, and then payroll.
Okay. Council have any questions with regards to the warrants?
You got a are you okay with that Laughlin bill?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was part of the storm hit, our well project?
Yeah, well, the bill we got didn't have your signature. Red flag.
I did. I did look at it.
Okay. All right.
And yes, that was within what we expected it to be.
Okay.
And you're aware that we paid another one last month, right?
Yes. So it should be the second, I believe, the final one until we're under construction. I asked him a bunch of questions today, so we might have 1 hour.
So we've already paid the 834?
Correct.
Okay. All right. It didn't have your signature
I can make sure I send it in the future. It's easier to send that through and have you guys pay it directly for a couple reasons. One, it avoids paperwork and markups on my end, and they're big enough that that's a substantial number. And then second, from a contractual standpoint, if we get into trouble, the town can go up, you know, they're not a subcontractor, so TO doesn't have to be in the middle of a dispute if there is one.
either. We don't have a contract with them, do we?
No.
Okay.
We probably should.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's one of many things that they should do better to have it gotten on.
I didn't know what they was doing. I saw the well thing on there, and I assumed that they were doing design.
But they specialize in hydrogeology, and, you know, that's all they do is design wells and develop groundwater and springs. So I have most of the wells, I have them designed because that's what they do. And so they do a much better job and are much more efficient at it than I am.
Okay. Where are we at on that? Just without getting too into it.
About ready to go bid.
Okay.
So we're still, an application's still pending at water rights, which I think is gonna pen past our well. We're gonna get a temporary permit to keep going. Drinking water got back to us with a few minor comments. Those are being resubmitted this week. Anticipate approval from drinking water shortly. once I get the drinking water approval, we'll get the Davis Bacon wages decision and we'll get those out to bid.
Okay, so we have location, depth, all that stuff?
Yeah, yeah, the well design is done, well specs are sitting on my desk waiting for the state to approve it.
Okay,
Like I said, we had a few minor questions, so we'll get, I'd like to get that bid out, advertisements out before Christmas, and then probably open sometime in January.
And then tentative date, April-ish, May-ish.
My thought to get the best price is to give a large window of time, and so say construction can start anytime between January and May, but once it starts, you have 30 days. So what I don't want is them to go out there and drag their feet for 4 months and have us under construction for 4 months, but give them a window that, but if they want to do it January because they've got a break in their schedule, you know, do it January or do it May, whatever fits your schedule, but get in and get out.
And then that would give us plenty of time if they did drag their feet, that we wouldn't be butting up against any late or term issues.
Yeah, we'll set the end deadline early enough that we can still have other issues, you know, deal with other things. 'Cause we won't be completely done. When they're done, develop the well, and we know what we have, we still have one more smaller portion of equipping the well. We've got to get a pump in it, and then we have to get piping from that well to the tank.
And that's all CDBG money?
Yes. I'll let you know after the bid comes in, but the plan is it's all CDBG money.
Okay,
The problem is, you know, with CDBG is you have to put together engineer's estimates, and then it's about 2 to 3 years before you actually construct, and costs don't stay the same in the 3 years between when you get your engineer's estimate and when you. So,
remembers a lot of stuff, I don't.
We can always go down.
yeah, but since costs are going down, it's never been a problem.
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, awesome, thanks, Mayor. You need a motion?
yes, I do, I was gonna
Motion
say.
to approve the warrants?
Okay,
I'll wait till you say. Second,
okay, we have a motion and a second, any discussion?
on the Smith attorney fees, this reader, is that for the lawsuit, or is that for?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and we are going to try to recoup those fees?
We're gonna try.
Okay.
So there've been 2 discussions with council, and one of them we can't even try, and one we can, and so, anyway,
Okay.
we are trying.
Yeah.
Okay, now the last discussion, we had a first and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Warrants approved. Carry item number 10, 10A, we just, as I mentioned, we do have our letter we approved for our engagement letter with Gilbert and Stewart. So I'll be signing that tonight and having that go into motion. We didn't have the other, or last month.
They gonna be able to finish that audit within 30 days?
You know,
Supposed to be done by the end of the year.
no, Ben can. Yeah, we tried for 2 months to get ahold of Ben. He was busy and didn't email back and forth, and he finally talked to his boss or whoever owned it. Then we did talk to Ben and did get us the letter, and that's where we're at. So any questions about this from anybody? Okay. Item number 11, I don't know if we need to have any news for that this evening.
Do you need a motion for the engagement?
I do, I just,
Okay.
yep.
Make a motion for up to $3,500 for the engagement of Gilbert Stewart.
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion on it?
It says in the letter that it will be completed by December 31st.
Yeah, it says it'll be done by the 31st.
In the letter it says,
Oh, it says should, it doesn't say will.
Oh.
Let me get that word in there.
okay, so we have a motion to accept the letter of engagement from Gilbert and Stewart. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a first and a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And, Charlotte, any motion to adjourn?
You want to talk about, do we need to go in full session?
Got this month? I don't know.
Is that our slide?
Till next month.
Okay.
We'll have a little more information next month anyway.
Well, our answers are due. Right?
Which one?
When we have Yeah, we have to. The one is December 3rd is there, and then we have to go, we'll have 7 days after that, so a week before we meet again. I think his cutoff was today to have his.
So maybe closed session, quick?
Absolutely, if you wanna go in. Okay, John, entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Second? A motion and a second to go into closed session, all in favor? Aye. We're now in closed session. We are called